Okay, so to complete the square on this one, this is a little tougher because you got a -3 out here in front of the x squared. But you can simplify it pretty simply. So first off, again, I don't like that f at x. I'm going to change it to a y so that it kind of makes a little more sense to me. What I'm gonna do is you look at these first two terms and notice there's a -3 out front. Whatever that number is, we're gonna factor that out of the first two. So if you factor that out, you would have -3, and then you'd have x squared minus 1x. I'll put the 1 there. You don't necessarily need it. And then we're gonna leave a spot where we're gonna complete the square inside that parenthesis. And then we got +7. It hasn't disappeared either. So we can kind of avoid some of the fractions by factoring out a 3. And we don't factor 3 out of the 7. We'll go ahead and move that 7 out of the way like we normally do. So y minus 7 equals -3 x squared minus x. And we've still left a spot because we're going to have to complete the square on that x squared minus x. The next part of this is to complete the square, and your middle term is this -1 right here. I'll put that 1 back, not that you need it. So off to the side, you're going to go -1 divided by 2 squared, which would be +1/4. So that's what you add inside of there. Whoops, not 3/4. I'm skipping to the answer. So we got 1/4 there. Now, usually you just add 1/4 to both sides of the equation. The problem is we took a -3 out, and so you have to imagine that we're distributing that -3 through. So what I've added actually -3/4 over here to the right side if you distributed -3 through. And so that's what you have to add to the left side. So plus a -3/4. And so on the left, you've got y minus 7 3/4, and on the right we'll just go ahead and factor that. So x squared minus x plus 1/4 factors to x and x. Minus plus is minus minus. 1/4 is really just 1/2 and 1/2. And so now you've got 7 minus, or y minus 7 3/4 equals -3 times x minus 1/2 squared. And your final step is to move the 7 3/4 over. So we know y equals, that color's kind of hard to see, y equals -3 times x minus 1/2 squared plus 7 3/4. So what we know out of this is the vertex is equal to 1/2 comma 7 3/4. Axis of symmetry, and I'll abbreviate, is x equals 1/2. And we also know it's a sad graph. So, you know, if you're going to, I'll just rough sketch it because we don't need anything too fancy. So 1/2 to the right, 7 3/4 up would be up here somewhere. It's a sad graph because of the -3 out front. It's going to open down. Here's your axis of symmetry. And so we know, and if you went back to your x-axis, x-intercept was 7, +7. So your x-intercept is real close to the vertex. And so we know we've got a graph that looks something like this. And so there is your axis of symmetry and kind of what the graph looks like. If you wanted to find the x-intercepts, you go back to your original and use quadratic formula. So x equals -3 plus or minus the square root of 9 minus 4 times 7 times -3 all over 2 times a, which is -3. And this, this video isn't necessarily for that, so you can go ahead and figure that out. So best of luck. Hope this helps on completing the square with a number out front of the quadratic, and good luck.